Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we're talking about tips for contributing to an NC 529 account. We have a lot of great information to share with you today. So, I want to make sure that you mute yourself upon entry. So, I hope that everyone has muted themselves so that we have a quality experience. And then, of course, also want to make sure that you guys know that you can put your information in the chat as we go. So thank you so much for joining us. I do have my colleague Amy Denton who will be co-presenting with me, and we're going to have an amazing time. So you'll see me for the first half of the presentation, and then my colleague Amy Denton will be in the second part of the presentation. So I just want to kind of go over some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So today's discussion points, we're really going to talk about why it's important to make a decision to set up an NC 529 plan. And of course, we definitely feel like this is going to be a step in the right direction for you. So why should you start a 529 plan, features of the NC 529 plan, as well as 529 savings tips. So as you know, most families may need to pay out at least a portion of their children or other family members' educational expenses. And we definitely feel like that's much easier when you plan ahead. So the NC 529 plan can get you started on your share of future educational expenses. So what is a 529 plan? So as we talk about 529 plans, they are named after the IRS Code 529, and they're designed to help you save for all different types of educational expenses. And we're talking about as educational expenses, things like tuition, fees, room and board, books, supplies, other equipment. And then, of course, you know, whether you're someone who's in North Carolina or outside of North Carolina, this is a national plan and can be used at any accredited college or university in the country. And we'll talk about a few other features of the NC 529 plan. So, of course, as we talk about the 529 plan, it is authorized by the North Carolina General Assembly, and that happened in 1996, and is established and maintained by the North Carolina Education Assistance Authority, and College Foundation Inc. does all the servicing and marketing for the plan. Now, some of the things that we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking about today, and I just alluded to, is open to residents of any state. So you don't just have to be a North Carolinian. Now, enrollment is direct through CFI or College Foundation Inc. So that means there's no sale charges or fees for enrolling in the plan. We're going to discuss how it's accessible, the affordability of the plan, tax advantages, how the plan is flexible, as well as it being comprehensive. So there's several ways that you're able to use the NC 529 plan. So of course, there are 6 different ways, and we're going to talk about them through the presentation. So of course, it can be used for college expenses. So again, just like I mentioned before, so we're talking about things like tuition, fees, room and board, books, supplies, maybe even a computer. Can be used for trade school, apprenticeship programs, K-12, educational expenses for tuition, special needs equipment, and of course for student loan repayment. So these are some of the things that we're going to touch on as well. You should set up a NC 529 because it, several reasons, supports multiple educational goals and gives you flexibility on how to use funds. We also want you to know you should set up an account because it sets your beneficiary up for success. So they already know there's money set aside for an educational purpose. Funds dedicated for education are more likely to be spent for that purpose. And so you're not going to use it for other things, and you have it set for that particular thing. Number 4, family and friends can show support by giving contributions as a gift to your plan. So it's always great when you don't have to do it by yourself. So definitely want to encourage that. And establishing an NC 529 plan gives you peace of mind. So you don't have to worry about, how you're going to pay for it. You already have a piece of the puzzle. You already have funds that are set aside. Even if it's not every single expense that you're going to have money for, you do have some money set aside for education. Now we're going to transition a little bit and talk about some of the features of the NC 529 plan. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how the plan is accessible. That means anyone 18 or older can establish an account for someone. So it could be that a parent is opening an account for a child, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a friend of the family. Remember, we did say it doesn't have to be just one person. I'm making sure that someone's set up for success educationally in the future. And not to leave this out, an individual can also set up an account for himself or herself. So that's another option. We also want to talk about the affordability of the plan. So there's no enrollment fees. The minimum contribution is as low as $25 per contribution. Now, some of you may be thinking about annual fees or any fees for the plan. So fees are really low. And as far as the range from them, they range anywhere from 0.25% to 0.39%. Now, there are no extra fees unless you're requesting something that's special from us. So when I'm saying something special, you're receiving some type of paper communication versus something electronic. Maybe it's an outgoing wire, courier delivery. These are some of the most common ones. And this is my favorite part. My favorite part is you can contribute whenever and however you want to do that. So you may decide that you want to contribute on a regular basis. You may decide, hey, I just want to contribute occasionally. And some people may want to do lump sum contributions. You might decide, hey, I also want to consider automatic draft. So just however you want and whatever way it works best for you. As we talk about contributions, lump sum contributions, here are a few methods that you might decide that you want to take advantage of. It could be a personal check. We might be looking at electronic funds transfer or EFT, money orders. And then, of course, we do accept transfers and rollovers from maybe another 529 account. It could be our Coverdell Education Savings account. And of course, it could be qualified savings bonds. That's another method. Now, automatic contributions are great. I like it because you can kind of set it and forget it. So it could be a recurring account draft. So that can be for maybe your checking account or your savings account. And you might decide that you want to do that once or twice per month. And you decide what date that's going to happen. So recurring draft is one option. Now, something else that's popular right now is payroll deduction. Some employers are making that available, and that might be part of your benefits package. So if you're not sure, make sure you ask questions. And I also want to share that there's no cost to an employer to be able to offer this to you through payroll deduction. So employers, they set up the NC 529 plan as a group plan for your contributions. And then, of course, in order for you to participate, you definitely need to make sure you establish an account with us. And then if you want to do it through payroll, there is a payroll deduction authorization agreement that has to be on file with the NC 529 plan. Now, as we talk about, tax advantages, so the money that you're contributing is going to be after tax dollars. It is not pre-tax. So the advantage that you also see is that, the money grows tax-free as long as it's used for qualified educational expenses. And so we talked about many of those things earlier. So the key is qualified educational expenses. So tuition, fees, room and board, books, supplies, other equipment would be some examples of qualified educational expenses. Now, if you're someone who's out of state, you pay no federal taxes on the amount that's earned or account earnings. They're used for qualified educational expenses. But as far as state taxes, we do suggest that you talk to your tax advisor about that regarding your state if you're from another state other than North Carolina. Now, the plan is also flexible. So savings can be used at any accredited college or university, and you can make changes to contributions anytime. Now, future contributions, money that we have not yet received, of course, you can make those changes twice per calendar year. So again, money that we already have received, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Let me restate that. You can make changes to future contributions anytime. That's what I meant to say. So money that we have not yet already received, you can make changes anytime. Now, money that we have already received, you can make changes twice per calendar year. Guys, it's Monday. So I just want to make sure, I clarify that. So I'm going to do it one more time just uh, for for everybody to make sure we have it. So make changes to future contributions anytime. Money we have already received, you can change that 2 times per calendar year. Now, as we talk about K-12 tuition, so I know that some individuals may feel like, well, I didn't know that that was something I can use a 529 plan for. So this started January 1, 2018, where you are able to use money that is in a NC 529 plan to pay for tuition for enrollment in maybe like an elementary school, it could be a middle or high school, it could be public, private, maybe a religious school. So $10,000 per beneficiary per calendar year can be used for this purpose. Now, once again, it's just for tuition. And something else that you may not be aware that 529 accounts can be used for is it can be used for student loan repayment. So do want to let you know that 529 funds may be used to repay student loans up to a certain limit. So, of course, it could be up to $10,000. That's a lifetime maximum for 529 beneficiaries. Up to $10,000 lifetime maximum for each of the 529 beneficiary siblings. So when we talk about siblings, we're talking about brothers, sisters. It could be a stepbrother, it could be a stepsister. And the participant. So you may hear me and my colleagues talk about the participant many times. So of course, the participant is whoever may have established an account. So the participant can make changes to their beneficiary at any time. So again, can make changes at any time. Now, as you have questions, or if you have any questions about how this may impact you, we definitely invite you to talk to your tax advisor if you decide to use your 529 funds in this way. Another amazing benefit for having a 529 plan or use for a 529 plan is it can be used for apprenticeship programs. So, as we talk about qualified educational expenses for an apprenticeship program, again, we're talking about fees, books, supplies, and equipment. And this is the thing, you need to make sure it's a registered apprenticeship program. So apprenticeship program has to be registered and certified with the Department of Labor. Now, on my screen, you'll see a link. Now, this link will actually, tell you which programs are registered or approved by the Department of Labor. The plan is also comprehensive. So that means you can select investment options that meet your goals or whatever your objectives may be. You also look at, the time remaining until your beneficiary will need the money for college, and also, matches your risk tolerance. Now, some of you, as you think about your retirement plans, you may have an idea of if you're, very conservative, or if you're moderate, or maybe you're more aggressive. So we do want you to choose, investment options that meet those things for you. So I am going to turn it over to my colleague, Amy Denton. Amy is going to share information with you how you can invest your way. Amy, I'm not hearing you. So.
Okay, fantastic. I am here now. Thank you all. Thank you, Tequila, for sharing the presentation with me to wrap it up as we proceed with the second half of the presentation. And if we'll get started, let's talk about the ways that you can invest. There's so many different options, and certainly this is totally your choice and how you wish to invest your contributions to a 529. One of the accounts that we have that's most conservative is through the State Employees Credit Union. It's the FIDA account, the Federally Insured Deposit Account. It, of course, seeks to provide income protection, and you are going to, the contributions that you put in, the principal and any interest earned They're guaranteed by the State Employees Credit Union and insured by the National Credit Union Administration. This option is available to members and non-members of the credit union. So just keep that in mind. Most conservative, you do not have to be a member necessarily of the credit union to set this option in your investments. And we have 3 age-based investment options that are through Vanguard. All of the individual options other than the credit union are through Vanguard. So how the age-based options work, there are 3 separate tracks: aggressive, moderate, and conservative. You pick the track that certainly fits your risk tolerance, and then based on the age of the beneficiary, that's how they will be placed into the risk track. So we'll show you an example of that on the next screen based on the individual options. So you see here at the top of the chart, we have aggressive, moderate, and conservative. And the ages go all the way down on the left up until the point of going to college. So let's say, for example, let's look at the newborn to 4 years old. If you are investing in the aggressive track, you see that it's 100% stock. If you're in the moderate track, it's another Vanguard individual options, and that has a combination of stocks and bonds. If you're in the conservative track, it's a lesser, of course, in risky investment. You have lesser stocks and more bonds. And go on down the chart and you'll see that how that varies. So at each age level, the investment automatically changes on your behalf. You don't need to do anything to make that change. It will automatically do that for you. And we'll go to the next slide to show you how it progresses to the age of 19 and over. So, you know, for example, that aggressive track, we started at 100% stock. Now let's look at the point of college entry, if this be how you plan to use your investment option. 17, 18, and 19, you're at a much less risky portfolio of lesser stocks and more bonds. As we go through the chart, the aggressive, moderate, and conservative, you can see how that changes. All of this information is on our website where you can monitor the progression by age for the track. And we'll go to the next slide and I'll show you how all of the individual options play a part. You can choose the aggressive, moderate, or conservative track if you're wishing to do an age-based option, but you do not have to. That can be one of your choices, just like the credit union option is a choice. You can choose to invest your contributions in 1, 2, 3, or more individual options. So again, these are described in detail based on past performances. You never should use a past performance as a prediction for the future, but we do share that information with you. So we have 9 individual options here on the screen, from the Vanguard Aggressive Growth all the way down to the Vanguard Total Bond Market Index. So it really depends on how you wish to invest and your level of tolerance of risk, certainly. And that would be something that you could judge yourself or have a conversation with your tax preparer or individual advisor when it comes to your financial situation. Now let's talk about some very basic common facts about the 529 plan. Anyone can contribute to a plan that's already in existence. That's totally okay. The participant is always the owner of the account. So that is the person opening the account who's naming themselves as the complete control over that account. Anyone after that fact can contribute. So that's where we have a lot of times grandparents or siblings or either aunts or uncles or whomever contributing to the account that the participant has already set up. There is a maximum expected expense that's allowed for each year. So you can only give $540,000 in a 529 account this current year. This will change from year to year based on the average of 4 years of college and 2 years of a graduate program. So this is reviewed and revised annually. But certainly this current year, it's $540,000 as a maximum for your annual contribution. A beneficiary can be any age to have an account created for him or her. So from a newborn to a 35-year-old to a 70-year-old. There is no restriction on the age of the beneficiary for an account to be created. As far as the taxes are concerned, we have no federal or North Carolina income taxes based on the withdrawals. So any type of qualified withdrawal, and I believe my colleague shared those purposes of a qualified withdrawal, obviously to review expenses related to college, K-12 tuition, apprenticeships, previous loans, that type of information. Those 6 ways in which you can use your 529 funds, those are considered qualified withdrawals. There are no taxes once you make those withdrawals. When do you make the withdrawals? When is it allowed for you to make those disbursements from your account? Whenever the beneficiary goes to college or those other reasons that we listed. Those are the timings of when you could create and make a request to withdraw the funds. There is no income restriction or AGI limit on anyone who can contribute or open up a 529 account. There are absolutely no restrictions on that. So that's very helpful. Let's talk about another 529 account that's been created in our state and of course the United States for many years now. We in North Carolina administer this program through the North Carolina Treasurer. It's called the 529A account, which is the North Carolina ABLE. The whole purpose of a 529A account is to allow people with disabilities to save. And what are they saving for? While a 529 account that we've just been talking about up to this point can only be used for qualified educational expenses, those 6 reasons, a 529 account, a 529A account can be used for the same reasons, but it also allows people with disabilities to save for their disability expenses, which is super helpful. For example, funds in a 529 account can be used to defray the disability related expenses such as additional medical costs that Medicaid does not cover. So this is super helpful for a lot of families in North Carolina that have children with disabilities or themselves that wish to defray those types of costs. We see this a lot in our state, but understand we do not administer this program at College Foundation. The North Carolina Treasurer administers this program, and the website there is at the bottom, or you can always just do a Google search for NC ABLE. You can roll over assets from a 529 plan into an ABLE account to pay for those qualified disability expenses. You are allowed $15,000 per calendar year for a rollover. And of course, these funds are reduced by any other contributions made to the ABLE account during that year. So that's very helpful. So, okay, let's now talk about the 5 ways to grow your 529 savings. These are reasons in which we have thought that may be ways that you can continue to have more monies put into a 529 to eventually save for those reasons in which you are ready to withdraw. So we'll go through them one by one. So number 1, think about milestone events in your family or in your life of a beneficiary. Quite often it's religious-based milestones. For example, a baptism would be a great idea for you to create a 529 account and make contributions, and for family members to contribute to that account. Maybe it's going to be academic milestones that you set with your beneficiary, various graduations throughout their year, kindergarten, moving on from middle school to high school, completing their first year of high school successfully, or obviously their 12th grade graduation would be a great time to make a lot of contributions so that those dollars can be used for that college expense or apprenticeship or whatever it may be. Honor roll, special school recognitions. Maybe you're going to say, you know, you've got a great report card. I can promise you by the end of the year, if you come out with, you know, a 3.5 GPA, if you're in high school, then we'll make a contribution, an added contribution to your 529 account. Beneficiary milestones. Think about various other events throughout the year. If your student is in a science fair, or if they have other momentous events going on in their school or their community, and if they win a first prize, make a contribution to their 529 account. We know a lot of friends of ours in various neighborhoods kids love to have those little lemonade stands. Use the proceeds and the monies collected to add to their 529 account. And other ways, preteens or teens earning money from part-time jobs would be a great way to add to their 529 account. So it doesn't always have to be the owner or the parent or the grandparent making contributions. Maybe involve the beneficiary themselves to be a part of this momentous reason to save for their next expense after high school. So number 2, windfall events, big events that are happening in the life of that beneficiary. Maybe an inheritance that comes to you, the participant, or another family member, or maybe it will be to the beneficiary themselves. Of course, we all would love the second one, a lottery winning. What better way to have contributions put into a 529 account if you win the lottery in some form or fashion? Other proceeds from sales of various different assets. Maybe you sell a car and use those dollars to put into a 529, some property, land, or antiques, or whatever it may be that you're, of course, collecting typically larger sums of money rather than a lemonade stand. Add those to a 529 account. And annual events, they happen every year. Your tax refunds, if indeed you're getting tax refunds, use those dollars to contribute to a 529. Various holidays throughout the year that you may celebrate and may be big in your home or your household. Instead of giving gifts at birthdays or whatever the case may be, ask family members or other friends to consider contributing to the beneficiary's 529. And a fourth way would be employment-related savings. So you could have that raise or that bonus, that promotion in your job that's going to cause you to be rewarded with additional funds. Use those dollars to contribute to that 529. Quite often, we see a lot of employers having a contribution or a match to what the employee puts into a 529 account, and employer scholarship programs. Those are all great ways, even if the student, think about it, if the student's 9th, 10th, or 11th grade and they have the capability to apply for a scholarship that is rewarded in the form of a money to the beneficiary or to the parent, use those dollars to put into the 529. And our last thoughts on ways to add to your savings is family and friends savings. Contributions and gifts from aunts and uncles, grandparents, godparents, friends, whomever it may be, are a great way to add to that account that's already been set up. So always consider the options for your family members to help that beneficiary, and sometimes non-family members, to be able to support that student as they plan for their next steps beyond high school. And we're very fortunate that we have on our website contributions to a 529 account make great gifts, as you know. Here are some PDF cards that you can download and fill out and then give as gifts for that special occasion. So we have various different types. Here you see a baby shower, birth, baptism, or obviously our Spanish-speaking population. We have one that has been converted to Spanish. So all sorts of reasons in which you can make a gift, and these are all on our website. So, do you need help deciding how much to save to reach your savings goals? If you have no idea how to plan for that second grader and what cost may be come 10 years, 12 years out, we have a wonderful resource on our site, the Savings Calculator. It's an online savings calculator to help you predict and approximate future college cost and estimate your possible savings growth. So you do have to enter certain things in this calculator to project the little bar scale you see on the right, will change over the course of those 4 years that will show whether you have first year fully funded, second year partially funded, based on the amount of monthly contribution you would like to make, based on the likelihood of interest you think that account may grow, and your lump sum or your initial contribution to the plan. So play with the calculator, change up the numbers to see what the chances are of your student and your beneficiary having parts of their college years funded. A great way to help you plan. And sign up for our 529 newsletter. We have a lot of 529 news that's, as we call it, and hot off the press, that we would like to share with you and others. And quite often, not only do we ask that employees that at companies that have payroll deduction, but individuals and those employers themselves sign up so they could share this information if they are a payroll deduction group enrollment, to be able to have this information. So here is a link on our site. Take a picture of it, or just simply jot it down really quickly to be able to go in and automatically sign up for the newsletter. And I think you'll find you'll be better informed as you go throughout these years to plan for your beneficiary and how you wish to save in the long run. And we have some exciting news coming up about a competition that we have in the state. It's September, as you may know. If you did not know, it's College Savings Month. And we have a contest going on right now for the month of September through the end of the month, September 30th. It is a $5,529 giveaway. So if you have an account currently, or if you open an account and obviously therefore have a contribution to that account, you will be qualified to enter the drawing. The key thing is you're not automatically entered. You do have to come to our website and click on the button there to enter now. And the more ways to have a chance to win this is based on your contributions. Multiple contributions to a 529 gives you multiple entries to win. So this is a complete random drawing based on the total number of people that have entered the drawing. And we'll announce the winner soon in October after we make the drawing at the end of the month. So go to our website. We'll share the web address with you, but I can share it with you now. cfnc.org/NC529. And that will be on the home page there of the Saving for College. And you'll find great ways to contribute, and certainly great ways to enter and see all the rules about the contest. And Tequila, I'll kick it back off to you for you to wrap up the presentation about some upcoming webinars and other key important things that's valuable for everyone on the call to know today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Amy. We have a lot of things that we're doing for preparing individuals to be career and college ready. So I just want to let you know that if you want to know about upcoming webinars, so we will definitely have some other 529 focus webinars throughout the year. So while as we're telling you about how to contribute, how to save, there'll be other times when you'll be ready to start withdrawing money from your account. And we'll have some presentations that talk about NC 529 rules later on in the year, but and perhaps maybe next year. So 2023, I can't wait. So upcoming webinars to learn more about anything that we're doing, you can go to cfnc.org/events. So again, cfnc.org/events to learn about some of the other workshops that we'll be having this semester as well as next. Now, online access, my colleague did share our cfnc.org/NC529 website. So that's how you can actually sign up for an account. Enrollment is easy. You'll have access to account information, account maintenance information, frequently asked questions. So I know that some of you may have questions, and we do have a member of our team that is helping us with the chat today. And of course, Amy talked about the savings calculator. And again, that calculator is designed to help you decide how to reach or how to best reach your savings goals. We also have representatives after today that can answer your questions that you have. So Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8. And Friday, we do have regular hours, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Our toll-free number is here, 800-600-3453. And you can talk to someone there. Now, just for more information to contact us, again, our online web address is here. If you prefer to email, and I know that sometimes it's easier to do that when you have a lot going on, you may email us your questions and a member of our team will respond to you. That email address is savings@cfnc.org. Again, savings@cfnc.org. And there's that toll-free number again. Now, you may also want to stay connected with us on our social media pages. So on our social media pages, you'll see many posts about things that we're doing, again, centered around career and college readiness, things specifically for the NC 529 plan. So we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, just to name a few social media platforms. So I'm going to pause here. And Amy, did you have anything else that you wanted to say as we prepare to close? And I'm not sure if we had any questions that we might want to address or at this time.
No, I think we have them all covered. Our colleague Devin has graciously been answering some questions, but I will throw this out. A very important question that was asked earlier on was, if I have a child already in college, is it too late for me to open up a 529 account? And certainly the answer is it's never too late. There could be always options for the student to continue in grad school. And depending upon your investment and your choice of how you wish for your monies to be growing in the account, you could find that within the 4 years, if indeed it's 2, 3, 4 years of undergraduate plus going on to graduate school, that those monies can add up so you can be receiving more funds to help pay for college. So it's never too late. It really all depends upon the age of the student and certainly your choice of investment. And I think that's it. Devin, I'll maybe point to you right now to see if there was any other questions that we didn't address and you didn't get a chance to answer in the chat. And it looks like there is not. She has done a great job for us, so we thank her for that. So I think we're good, Tequila, and I want to thank everyone, myself, for coming onto the webinar. And certainly, if you have further questions, feel welcome to reach out to savings@cfnc.org or give us a call.
All right. Thank you so much for joining.